that in every conversation that you go into, you have to be starting from a position of curiosity. Now, I teach this model all the time right now of giving people the 3 key ingredients that go into every critical conversation, but they're never more important than they are for the world of conversion when somebody's making a high stakes decision on who to trust with something like buying or selling a home. And by curiosity in this context, I mean, understand their context. Now, you have an abundance of content around why you are the number 1 choice in your provider for the thing that you're offering. Always you have a wealth of content. Yet understand this is that your content without context is merely noise, and the world is already noisy enough. So you inserting more noise into a noisy situation doesn't create clarity, actually creates uncertainty. So if your goal is to create certainty in somebody else, you show up with curiosity to get you to certainty. Now, what does that look like in a real estate world? Well, why don't you start with big, broad, open questions like, well, what is your experience with buying and selling homes? You see how if you just start there, what is your experience of buying, selling homes? And they say, well, we tried to put this on the market 9 months ago, had a terrible experience. You say, tell me some more about that. And they tell you some more about that. You say, well, what did you like best about the person you chose? They say nothing. You say, what would you change about it? They say this. You say, well, why are you speaking to me? And they say, because I heard this, this, and this about you. Like, what's that done to your confidence before you've even got into any form of masterclass of these are all the reasons why I'm awesome? Because you were curious for long enough to understand their context. What pros then do is they move from curiosity to empathy. Hugely talked about quality that nobody understands. What is empathy? Seeing things from another person's point of view. It is that simple. Put yourself in the context of somebody selling their home. That's a big decision. It's certainly a significant decision to who to trust with this. The consequences of this decision could be more than just financial. The experience, the service, the communication, we're going to have to speak on a regular basis. You're in my house, you're looking in my daughter's bedroom, right? Like, these things are real things. So if you fail to see it from the other person's point of view, you, my friends, are an a-hole, right? Like, that is the reality of it, is that we have to be empathetic enough. Why? Because you want to be relatable. And you're not relatable unless you've been curious enough first. Like, it has to be in that order. So even questions like, well, what do you understand about the process? What is your experience with? Help me understand. These simple prefaces allow the other person to scene set for you. They paint the picture that you're going to insert yourself in. Instead, you say, take a look at my picture. Look at my picture, isn't it pretty? What I want them to do is to paint their picture that I'm going to plant myself in a minute as the ideal choice. And then behind empathy, we have courage, right? Courage is what comes next. And courage, again, is a giant missing ingredient. People aren't brave enough to ask. That's what I mean by courage, not climb a mountain courage, go to war courage, fight somebody courage. I mean the courage to just ask. Because that gives you the ability to get the actions that you're looking for. So in terms of where to start, knowing that people are possibly going to be prejudging you, understand their context, see the world through their eyes, and then ask the questions that you need to ask to be able to give yourself a layup. Like, we're not trying to shoot for 3 points here. It is as easy enough to be able to get the layup or walk away, which is equally empowering. Like, you do this right, you find out, oh, dang, it's not me they're looking for. They should go Redfin, right? Like, that's where they should go, or whatever it might be, because they're not a fit. And that's what impacts your confidence as a professional in the real estate space, is starting with that curiosity, moving to empathy, and then having the courage to ask what you really need.